Yes, alright. I just watched an amazing video by Jarvis Johnson. Huge Dhar Mann allegations. Hashtag protest Dhar Mann. Dhar just released a statement on the Dhar Mann Studios Instagram page that says, we were granted a meeting and we left and decided not to do it. Look, we made it very clear in writing several times. We want to meet with Dhar Mann. We have no need to meet with HR. They can be present in the room if that's what you guys want. But we are not employees. We are contract players. And the person who signs our contracts is Dhar Mann. We work for him. We deserve to be granted a meeting with our boss. That's it. So we all agreed collectively that we would leave the meeting and have it rescheduled for a day that Dhar could be available because he was apparently skiing in Aspen and had more important things to do. And then we were told, and we have this in writing, so we've got the receipts, that we would not be having that meeting. Whew. Hope that got you guys caught up. Okay, now we're going to react to Jarvis's video. I thought it was amazing. He's extremely well spoken. Everything was well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. Here we go.
Hey Dhar Mann fam. If you know me, you know that I watch a lot of Dhar Mann videos. I've talked about him on my main channel. I've talked about him on my gold channel. And for the past year, I have created a little bingo game on my stream and my live channel based around the fact that Dhar Mann videos are so incredibly predictable that all of their tropes fit on a bingo board. Ooh!
That was going on viral on Twitter for a little bit. The whole like, this was not on my Dhar Mann bingo card. I was like, or my 2023 bingo card. I was like, that's clever. Who came up with that? Well done, sir.
I don't know if this is gonna come up.
Mom always say, what happens in the dark?
Are you serious? And it's been fun. It's been fun for me, and it's been fun for my community to make fun of these poorly told stories with questionable morals, because we know how extremely successful. Can
I just stop right there? Thank you for pointing that out. With questionable morals. Okay, anybody who wants to know what kind of morals Dhar Mann really has, just has to look at his storyline. Because it's never like, hey, don't be mean to the nerd guy, because like he could actually be a really cool dude. It's always like, hey, don't be mean to the nerd guy. He might be really rich one day. If you date him, you could have a lot of money too. So thank you for pointing that out.
We know that they're relatively low budget, and we see the views, and we see how often the videos come out, and we know how much money the operation is printing. We don't know exactly, but we know that it's a gargantuan amount of money. It's also fun because we make a point not to drag the actors who are working and acting in the Dhar Mann videos, because they are just doing a job and they are finding a way to make a living doing their craft, and I think that that is a perfectly respectable thing to do that doesn't need to be made fun of. There's tons of stuff outside of that to be made fun of in the Dhar Mann universe. But what absolutely is wrong is what the actors at Dhar Mann Studios are dealing with right now. A number of Dhar Mann actors and staff are staging a protest outside of Dhar Mann Studios because they don't make a living wage acting in Dhar Mann.
Where did you get this footage? That was really quick. I mean, obviously this is from Nick's page, but thank you. Thank you very much for posting this. This means a lot.
This should be ridiculous to you, especially for like the regular actors. Some of these actors have been working on Dhar Mann for 4-5 years at this point, because they are in so many videos. They produce so many videos, and those videos have never stopped getting millions of views. Traditionally, actors have unions to protect them from predatory wage practices, but Dhar Mann's whole operation is non-union, and so that allows them to cut corners and pay dramatically lower wages. There's a hashtag going around right now, and a lot of people have been sending this to me, called hashtag protest Dhar Mann. And if you go to this hashtag on TikTok, you will see a lot of the Dhar Mann actors posting videos and sharing video of the scene of their protest, and kind of exposing the Dhar Mann operation as not being the morally good and happy-go-lucky place that it appears in the stories that are changing lives. As a quick aside, I just want to call out the fact that so many Dhar Mann videos for years ended with Dhar Mann saying, and remember, we're not just telling stories, we're changing lives. And when you share our videos, you're helping to change lives too. I used to joke that, like, no, we're changing your life. We are padding your pockets.
Thank you very much. Look, you are not alone. Us actors would cringe so hard every time. That most of us, not, I mean, some people did drink the Kool-Aid, unfortunately, but for the majority of us, yeah, we were all like, whose life we changing around here? Well said, sir.
it's a very manipulative thing to tell your audience. You're not changing anybody's life by sharing a Dhar Mann video where like an evil babysitter gets what was coming to them. And that's fine, but like let's not get on our moral high horse about it. Especially when like, you know, you're not practicing what you preach. So where I want to start with this is one of the Dhar Mann actors. His name is Colin Borden, and he can regularly be seen in Dhar Mann videos playing the affable dad who has no clue what his kids are up to. I think he gives a good overview of this whole situation.
Essentially, as an actor at Dhar Mann Studios, I am just a contract player. I have no employment there. I am just sort of called every now and then, as are all the other actors. And it just is not sustainable. And there are a lot of issues at hand here, but one of the main issues is that not a single actor that works at Dhar Mann Studios can afford rent.
Let that sink in.
Yes, please let that sink in. I'm really being serious here. Like, we live in Los Angeles. Everybody I know, every single person who works on the show has a roommate. If that roommate is like their husband or their significant other or somebody, like where we split rent, okay? Rent is astronomically high in Los Angeles, which is where we all live. So like you have people in their 40s and 50s with roommates. I'm very serious. This is like a real thing. Yeah, so nobody's like trying to live like this extravagant lifestyle. We're talking like, hey, it would be really nice if like, you know, we could afford to, you know, make rent and go grocery shopping. Like, yeah, like that, come on now. And they did release in their statement that like, you know, they're not full-time employees, so they have every right to go on and do other things. That's cool. That's not the point. We know that. We know that we can do other things. The point is that we have been a massive part of building your brand from the very beginning, a part of what has made you so incredibly wealthy. We are tied to your brand forever. Like, I will never be able to go down the street for the rest of my life and not have somebody be like, Dhar Mann girl, okay? So what we're saying is like, yeah, it's about that time where like maybe you could step it up for us a little bit. All right, we're not even asking for anything crazy. We're asking for, once again, I've said it several times, humanly decent.
That is a absurd reality. Obviously, like, it's a claim here. I don't know it to be true.
It's true.
But I have every reason to believe the number of actors who work at this company corroborating this story than I do, you know, the corporate bigwigs who may be denying it. So
there's Dhar Mann himself, and then there is the studio manager who, if you want to call him a corporate bigwig, cool. Like, look, we all have kind of like a soft spot in our hearts for this guy because he was with us as our director when Dhar Mann first started filming videos in his apartment. So we do love him. We are happy that Dhar has brought him on and given him such a powerful position. However, was it a smart move? Probably not. This is not something that someone of his job experience should be doing. But Dhar has put him in charge because he's very loyal to Dhar. So it's not like there's a lot of corporate bigwigs. There's like two people.
That sucks.
This is a show that has millions of views across multiple social media platforms. Videos are shot, edited, posted, repackaged as new videos, reposted in other places over and over and over and over and over again, racking in millions of views, ad revenue, all this sort of stuff. The studio has continued to expand for some time, my entire tenure there. When I first started, we shot everything, as I've told you guys on lives and things like that. We shot everything in an apartment building downtown, in an apartment, not even the building. Occasionally we would go to the garage of that building, but it was really just all in one apartment. And now there are 3 sound stages in Burbank, but things haven't really gotten better for us.
So that is one of the big tenets here. Actors like Colin, who have been with Dhar Mann for years and years and years, have seen the operation grow, and maybe, you know, we're willing to, you know, especially when you start at a smaller company that's an upstart or a startup or something like that, you know what they're working with, and you can sometimes be willing to take less pay with the hope that this grows over time and the organization grows over time, and then you are rewarded for your investment of your time in the organization when it was, you know, not able to pay you in the same way, not able to compensate you in the same way.
Thank you. Very well said.
This is why a lot of companies give stock, like tech companies and stuff. Like we'll give stock to their employees so that they are incentivized and they're compensated with the growth of the company. But this sounds like, these people have not seen a noticeable raise in their pay as the organization around them has gotten more and more like gigantic.
And again, I don't want to go into specifics because it's a kind of a big thing and it's really just between us. But I think that people should be aware of why we are protesting, why we are out there right now. We've been talking to a lot of actors. It's the same, everybody feels the same across the board. The trouble is, there's a culture at the studio of if you talk, you're out. So we decided to come together as a group and talk collectively with our boss, Dhar Mann.
That's also pretty concerning, right? You can imagine how terrifying it is that if you speak out against the boss or you try to communicate, something that's not working for you, then you're at risk of your job. That does not sound like a healthy working environment just from the jump. So the reason that they've all had to band together is so that they can't fire all of them. And I would not be surprised if Dhar Mann tried to get rid of this problem by just firing all these people. And that would be a terrible way to go.
He's paving his own way for himself there, so.
I really hope that he, listens. But the rest of Colin's story does not inspire confidence.
We sent a letter to him, a hard copy and an email. The email was CC'd to the head of production as well, so that we made sure that Dhar got it. But it was addressed to Dhar. It was delivered to Dhar. That letter was forwarded to the HR department, which we are not employees of Dhar Mann Studios. We are contract players. So exactly what we have to do with HR, we're not entirely sure. But it was forwarded over there. We were contacted, said we could have a meeting to discuss our issues. That meeting was pushed several times, changed on us. When we finally got to the meeting, we had reiterated that we wanted it to be with Dhar. Dhar was not there.
That's fucked. It's like, you are the guy. You are the guy. Do you not respect these people enough to show your face and listen to the problems that they have?
No.
The people that have worked at your organization for years and years. The people who, the fans are going to notice. You know what I mean? It reminds me of just it reminds me of Power Rangers back in the day, where it was similarly non-union work. And due to contract disputes and pay disputes, which were really low, and the Power Rangers actors were having to do martial arts and crazy stunts where they were putting real risk to their bodies, were not being paid a fair wage. And when 3 of them tried to step up and negotiate, they were just fired and replaced. And then they cut together an episode where, with existing footage, where they handed off the powers while these other 3 Rangers went away into the sunset.
That's messed up.
But in reality, they were fired for asking for a little bit more pay for the work that they were doing with their bodies. It's not a perfect analog, but it reminds me that corporations will do this, and workers have to advocate for themselves a lot of the times if they're not protected by things like unions. And it feels weak. It feels weak that the meeting was moved multiple times and that Dhar Mann won't meet with them. Just meet with your people, dude. I don't care if they're contractors. No one knows that. These are the people that they associate with Dhar Mann videos. I see this guy, I go, dad in Dhar Mann videos. You know what I mean? And I've seen job postings come through. A lot of times people will send me Dhar Mann job postings, and I will find out about the pay that they're offering at various, roles within Dhar Mann Studios, and they're always the bottom of the barrel pay. They're always the lowest pay you could possibly be offering for this type of role, because it's an industry where you can get real experience in this production environment, in this thing that has millions of views. It's a big name and stuff. That is not an excuse for treating people like resources.
Exactly, like resources that can just be discarded if they complain. Look, that is a thing, and a lot of actors, for some reason, they feel especially those who have not been around as long as us, with Dhar Mann, it's very they're like, but you guys have a lot of followers, and like, I would really like to have more followers. Look, followers don't pay bills. Honestly, the best thing about having followers right now is you can hear me talking about this. I've made this analogy before. If I were to like have never auditioned for anything before my entire life, if the first thing I ever like auditioned for was Game of Thrones and I got that role, the followers and the fans would just come with it, because that's part of the job. When you're on something successful, when people like you and they want to follow you, you deserve to have those followers. It doesn't make sense to me that people would think like that. Like, oh, you can get paid or you can get followers, or like, you know, it's not a proper way of thinking.
We checked back in following a couple days, reiterating again, we would like to speak specifically with Dhar. This is what the meeting is about. This is our boss. This is who we want to talk to.
I'm thinking of other arguments you can make. Like, oh, you know, it's a big operation. You know, if a few employees at, like, I don't know, Google wanted to meet with the CEO, they may not be able to do that. They may not be able to accommodate that because it's tens of thousands of people. I do not think the Dhar Mann company is that big.
It's not. It's grown so much. He does have a lot of employees now, but it is not nearly that big. Dhar does come into the office. The directors can get meetings with the crews. They can get meetings with him. It's not very often, but it's occasional. These guys can get meetings. Why? Because they're in the office, but because we're not considered employees, we are just disposable.
I have worked at companies larger than Dhar Mann's company. I'm sure of it. And the CEO, I don't know what his actual role is in the company.
CEO, yeah.
But the face of it should be available for something like this. Especially just like, even if he's not required like legally or professionally, like personally, like, come on. You know what I mean? Where's the heart? I think the biggest issue that a lot of people have with this, like as I'm reading the comments, is like, this is antithetical to how Dhar Mann presents himself. And it's why it's, you know, one of the reasons it's so upsetting. I've known for years that Dhar Mann is like just a businessman.
I'm going to stop you on that. Oh, wait, no, one more. Say this next line. This is a good line.
He's a serial entrepreneur. He's a serial entrepreneur.
I've known a couple of people in my life who have represented themselves as serial entrepreneurs. Not saying that this is what Dhar is, but those people have turned out to be con men. Oh, what do you do? Well, I start these companies and these people invest in them and I spend all of the money on my own lifestyle, and then it's like, oops, I have nothing more to put on the company, and then the company fails, on to the next one. So not saying that that's what Dhar is doing, but it's an interesting term, and I think if you really do your research about companies that Dhar has started in the past, you know, well, I'll let you make your own mind up.
Had businesses before this and he'll have businesses after this, but a lot of kids and a lot of branding from this operation has positioned him as this like morally good guy who just wants to like tell good stories.
I don't think that's the case though, unfortunately. And look, we all wanted to believe that. Yeah, of course. People make money in all sorts of different ways, but to kind of make money by pulling at the heartstrings of people who want to believe in something good when you're not, it's like being like a phony like church leader. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's icky.
I think it's important that like people are like seeing through the shit. I thought Dhar Mann was all about being good to others, but that's kind of cruel. Dhar Mann took the fattest L, and Dhar Mann says what happens in the dark always comes to light.
That's
Literally, there's so many people saying what happens in the dark always comes to light.
We learned Saturday there will not be a meeting. Meanwhile, a lot of other stuff has happened at the studio. Not great stuff. Whether it's connected or not, we don't know because no one's talking to us. So that's why we're here right now, because all we wanted to do was sit down and have a conversation with our boss. That didn't happen. We were told explicitly that there will not be any meetings and that any issues that we have can be written down and forwarded to HR. And that's just not acceptable.
And it's worth noting that through all of this, these people just want to go back to work. They just like, they're like, please just like, let us make a living wage so that we can continue working on these silly videos.
The goal is to keep going to work, to have a conversation with Dhar, and to keep working at Dhar Mann Studios with the people that I love, doing the work that I love. We'll see.
I cannot believe that it would really eat into the profit margins that much. It just feels, and I haven't seen the books, I don't know, but it just feels like corporate greed, dude. And we've seen it. We've seen all of these layoffs and shit happening across a number of industries right now. It's kind of like the moment that we're in, but it never gets easier to see, like, when companies like show their true colors.
Mostly the OG actors of Dhar Mann Studios are at the studio.
Arriving united.
Yeah.
And Nick, what are you protesting?
I protest the man never talks to anyone, he silently fires people, and he doesn't pay anyone what they're worth.
Damn. I mean, we're hearing some of the stuff. He doesn't talk to anyone. He doesn't pay people what they're worth. These are the claims. And and I'm just like, as someone who like would prefer to align myself more with the workers here than Big Dhar, because he's got all of the resources in the world to defend himself. I'm, more likely to take these actors at their word. We've got Mayor Mulroney here. She always plays the the mean girl. She's always kind of a jerk, but we love her for it.
For over like 4.5 years. I mean, that's more than a college education. So to be treated like I'm not even worth being listened to at all, that was just, there are so many like other.
You'll notice that they're making a bunch of noise. I think that's to disrupt the work.
Yes, it is 100% to disrupt the work, because the studios are not soundproof, and they are directly across the street from an airport and a train station, like directly across the street. Okay. I do a whole other video that I'm about to post about this. It just irks me so much. But it's about, like, no one in the film industry would build out 3 studios, not like all at once either, but like at separate periods of time, within like a 2-year time frame or something. You don't build out these studios to film in when you're recording sound and not soundproof the buildings. Once again, if it looks good, there's no need for functionality, because it's all about appearances.
I guess it's like hard to film in that environment. It's hard to work in that environment. They just want to be heard. It really sucks that it's come to this, but it also sucks that the people, who I feel like a broken record at this point, but to see people who've like really invested so much of their time for so little. It's like, it's not a charity, of course, and they're exchanging their labor for money, but it's okay to ask for more, especially because it's not a living wage and they've been trying to make things work, and hoping that they'll get better, and they've reached a boiling point, and that's why we're here. Someone's holding up a felon sign, actually. Not a lot of people know this, and this is a little unfair. What does this say? Never judge a felon by his
cover.
I feel conflicted about saying this, but this is in reference to the fact that Dhar Mann was charged with a felony. He did defraud the city of Oakland. This is in 2012. Dhar Mann was in Oakland. He had a pot business, and he was charged with defrauding a city beautification program in Oakland to the tune of I think it's like 40 grand or something like that.
A city beautification project. Take something beautiful and make it nasty.
Yeah, the city paid Mann more than $44,000 based on fraudulent paperwork. Now, this has since been expunged. I do have to say that. And I do think that people can grow, from their transgressions in the past. But I was providing that context as to why, this particular person is taking that blow right now.
I completely agree with you that people can grow, and they can learn and overcome their pasts, right? Or learn from and overcome their pasts. However, it does show that there is a tendency within this person to be a certain way, to take advantage of the system, to take advantage of people. So, right. I think the whole reason for Michael's sign there was to really kind of remind people, like, look, I know he's created this new image for himself where he's like the moral YouTube god, but is that really who he is?
What's her sign say? Multimillionaire ignores actors, instantly regrets it.
So we can't be taken advantage like this.
Is where the Carl mural used to be.
Oh,
So this is another interesting allegation. There was a beloved Dhar Mann actor named, I believe, Carl Judy, who passed away. And to honor his memory, they made a mural at the Dhar Mann Studios of him, posted it on social media, and then apparently took it down a few days later. I don't know about you, but that seems to me that it was just for the clout of it all, and that doesn't feel good.
I never thought about that, honestly, until you brought it up, because I forgot that the mural even existed. I've seen pictures of it that people have like tagged me in social media, and I was wondering where the mural was. Now, I do remember Dhar saying when he first got the studio, like, this is where we're gonna do like a mural of Carl and stuff. I worked there a lot, so I would be surprised if it had been there like more than a week. I don't know. That was, yeah, I don't know the exact specifics of it, but that would be real on brand. Like, not the fake brand, but like the real person brand for them to have taken it down.
One could argue that they needed that, area for production or what have you. It is unsettling.
There's plenty of areas for production. So no, I'm not buying that at all.
And if the workers are also unsettled by it, I think that validates my feeling a little bit, because they know more than me. They said maybe the landlord told them to take it down.
There's like a lighting place. There's a whole bunch of different like warehouses and stuff, and have murals. So
we don't know the context. But they mentioned it.
I wasn't supposed to cry, but it's just that I felt alone for a long time.
Man, this is it's just so sad. It's just so sad.
There's an atmosphere of fear there. Really? And so because we saw if you do bring something up, all of a sudden you disappear.
If you won't listen to us, if you don't respect us, like we're gonna show you that we mean business. And if it hurts your brand, like I'm sorry, but you don't get to go around acting like you're a moral guru when you treat the people who helped make you like crap. It's not fair. And he's not gonna be able to pretend that he spreads good messages when he doesn't treat the people around him.
She's spitting. Well said, Mayor Mulroney. I mean, that really hits the nail on the head. I think that he should get bad press for this. He should have to respond. Like, it sucks that the workers have had to go public in order to motivate Mr. Mann to respond, but they have, and I think that we should support them. I personally will not be, engaging with Dhar Mann stuff. Dhar Mann Bingo is on indefinite hiatus until the situation gets sorted out. I hope that it's sorted out in a way that is, equitable and fair to the workers. But if it doesn't, then fuck Dhar Mann. But, I'm going to keep an open mind and see what happens. But I wanted to highlight this, and I wanted to share that these type of things happen. They happen a lot. They happen a lot in workplaces. And this is just, a place that it's happening very publicly. Thanks for hanging with me, and thanks for listening. And I'll link some of the TikTok accounts of these people, link some of the social accounts of the actors that are protesting right now, and I'm going to keep following this, and hopefully we see a conclusion that makes everyone happy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Is that the one who makes all the money is Dhar. Yes. Dhar Mann is his name.
But all we wanted to do was talk about it. Like, we just want a meeting with our boss. We wouldn't even ask for what we deserve. We wouldn't even ask for what is fair. We would ask for what is, like, somewhat humanly decent. And when this was kind of a rinky-dink production, we were okay with that because this was kind of like this, like, weird niche punk rock thing. And we felt like we were a family, and, like, we were okay to watch it grow. Now when something does grow, and when you were such a huge part of that brand, like, none of us can go anywhere without being recognized or being tied to that brand.
Wow. Thank you so much for posting that video. Seriously, like that was really, really, really well done. It's like, yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking our backs with this and for exposing this to your audience. Really, really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And more news to come. I'm quite sure of it.